key medical experts will continue to advise President Trump on a daily basis. The task force will be phased down around Memorial Day. Vice President Mike Pence confirmed today the White House is having conversations about when the timing would be right to disband the task force. Meanwhile, some Democrats are also speaking out. The phase-out plan comes as the country's daily cases and reported deaths plateau, based on the Johns Hopkins University Coronavirus Research Center. The governor's office also provided an update for those of you who are still waiting for unemployment benefits. The state says 95% of the claims from March that have not been approved are from people who were fired or who quit, not because of the pandemic. They will be sending out emails tonight so you can make changes to your claims. Well, there's less than a week until phase 1 of business reopenings begin in Kentucky. There are specific requirements businesses must follow before they can open their doors. Local 6's Abisola Adeyemo joins us. So, Abisola, what are those?
That rain.
That could change starting tonight. Meteorologist Noah Berggren is tracking the latest for us. Looking ahead, local communities are busy preparing for the chance of flash flooding.
That's right. The city of Brookport in Illinois is currently pumping.
Be on the lookout for this man. Marshall County deputies say Ryan Shoppy kidnapped an infant earlier today and is armed and dangerous. Deputies have found that 5-month-old child safe, but Shoppy is still on the run. Local 6's Shamaria Morrison joins us live from the Marshall County Sheriff's Department tonight. So, Shamaria, where do investigators think Shoppy is?
Shamaria Morrison, WPSD Local 6.
Shamaria, thank you. The Sheriff's Office is offering a $1,000 reward for any information leading to the location and arrest of Shoppy. Here's another look at him. New details now. Lawmakers are on the House floor as the final votes are coming in on a resolution that would limit the president's military power.
What's called of that Iranian general.
Republican Senators Mike Lee and Rand Paul say they found the briefing insulting and Congress should determine further military action. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said today the Trump administration put American lives at risk by striking Iran and did so without consulting Congress.
To talk about a controversial piece of legislation called Senate Bill 1.
Now, the bill proposes requiring public employees across the Commonwealth to support the enforcement of federal immigration law. Senator Carroll says this bill is not a stance on immigration, it's about safety. Kate Miller with American Civil Liberties Union of Kentucky tells us Senate Bill 1 puts a burden on public workers to support federal immigration enforcement. Senate Bill 1 was introduced Tuesday when lawmakers began this year's regular session. We'll have more reaction tonight at 10. The Marshall County Fiscal Court is working on a revised draft of the Second Amendment Sanctuary County Ordinance. The county's school district voted to take legal action if the original draft is passed. Well, Superintendent Trent Lovett says school safety comes first. At 6, you're going to hear more from the superintendent on their specific concerns and how the county wants to address those. And still ahead of 5, it's a new year, and that means new goals to accomplish.
And Jennifer, we will talk more on that in a few minutes.
And some breaking news, too. Tennessee has recorded its first death from complications linked to the novel coronavirus. Before we get to all of that, this is not a typical Friday night. Social distancing practices are in full swing now all across the world, including the Local 6 area. Check out this Sky 6 video of the parking lots at Paducah Cinemark and different restaurants by Kentucky Oaks Mall. They are empty. This as many people are staying at home and avoiding large gatherings of people. West Kentucky has 3 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Christian, Callaway, and Lyon counties. Tonight we're learning how our first responders are dealing with increasing concerns surrounding the coronavirus. Local 6's Jack Kane joins us now. And Jack, are there any major changes? One local business owner says his employees are looking at the positives of being ordered to close down, but that doesn't make things easier.
It's tough on smaller businesses are definitely feeling the brunt of this. I think they're the ones that you're going to see really affected. I know some of the businesses in the area are worried that it may close them, but we're not going to. We're going to be here.
The stay-at-home order goes into effect at 5 p.m. tomorrow through April 7th. To read the full executive order, just go to WPSDlocal6.com and look for this story. The U.S. and Mexico officially announced they are prohibiting non-essential travel across the border. It takes effect at 11:59 local time tonight and will be reviewed in 30 days. You can see here, these are people in California making last-minute trips before the ban is enacted. Canada also agreed to turn back anyone trying to illegally cross a border. Paducah Mayor Brandy Harless says local businesses in service, retail, and hospitality are under extreme distress outside of grocery and hardware stores. She says that's what preliminary data shows from an economic survey sent out this morning. That survey says employers are asking for a penalty-free extension on any obligations owed and how they can better protect employees.
Coronavirus-related deaths, the most in one day.
Callaway County confirmed 2 more cases tonight. There's a total of 6 cases in Callaway County now. 2 of those cases have fully recovered and 1 is in the hospital. Parkview Nursing Home in Paducah is being monitored after an employee tested positive for COVID-19 there. Families whose loved ones are in the facility aren't able to see them. Local 6's Jack Kane joins us. So Jack, since this happened, what's changed at Parkview? Walt Wexler, Interim Executive Director at Parkview Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, says at this point no residents or additional employees have tested positive. And in southern Illinois, a woman died from COVID-19. The Jackson County Health Department says the woman was in her 90s and lived at Manor Court in Carbondale. A second resident, a man in his 80s, also tested positive for the virus and is being treated at a hospital. Banks had to field thousands of calls from small businesses attempting to apply for loans through the Paycheck Protection Program. Congressman James Comer says banks couldn't possibly predict the volume of loans they were going to have to process.
And we are tracking changes for the forecast tomorrow.
Hold on, I'm checking my tie
yes.
here. This is called pulling a Noah.
No.
This is called pulling a Noah.
If anything, I learned that from Todd. Todd does that too. Okay, so let's be transparent.
He doesn't get caught though, sweetie.
I don't get caught.
There has never been a Mother's Day, I just looked, that has been cooler than Christmas.
Us moms are pretty cool.
That's true. Todd and I.
All right, welcome back and welcome to April, and that's no joke.
That
was a good one.
Stole my joke.
No, I came up with that.
He literally told me not to say that because that would not be funny.
Oh my
and then he stole it.
Oh,
I didn't
Todd,
steal
of all things, come on.
Whatever, distance
All right, let's be
yourself
fair, people.
from me.
Jen did say that in the break, like 10 seconds before.
To see if you qualify for a loan through the Small Business Administration, go to WPSDlocal6.com and search for this story. The Kentucky Region 1 regional distribution site today delivered these boxes full of PPE to hospitals, EMS, fire departments, and law enforcement in West Kentucky. The Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services says some of the supplies were from the federal government. Another portion came from the Kentucky Department of Health's preparedness branch. Cash. Well, Paducah Mayor Brandy Harless praised Governor Beshear, saying he's leading Kentucky in a compassionate way and in a scientific manner. She says social distancing signs have been put up at the city parks and on the Greenway Trail. She also says patrols at the riverfront have increased to enforce social distancing. Well, because of COVID-19, the McCracken County PVA office is delaying their tax calendar date for 60 days. Deadlines for tangible property returns, assessment notices, and more have been extended by 2 months. The office plans to send out 2020 assessment notices by the end of April. With the new deadlines, they may adjust them again in the future.
Is Local 6 at 10.
Arguments begin tomorrow in President Donald Trump's Senate impeachment trial. Both sides debating the trial rules late into the night.
And they are currently debating right now.
And Todd, today was the first time the president's legal team made their case, as they were not a part of the House's impeachment inquiry. A member of the defense team asked a question many Republicans have echoed, which is, what is the true intent behind the articles of impeachment?
Why are we here? Are we here because of a phone call? Or are we here before this great body because since the president was sworn into office, there was a desire to see him removed?
We will be streaming the trial every day on our web channel. To watch those live streams and to get caught up on our impeachment coverage, head over to WPSDlocal6.com and search for impeachment. New at 10, a recommendation of parole for former McCracken County PVA Nancy Bach.
Yeah, this is a video. Semper Fi. It's a phrase that means always faithful or always loyal, the motto of the Marine Corps.
Lanston R. Good III, Lanny, to his friends and family, knew that. He was a Marine after all, but those were ideals at the core of who he was. His brother, too. Lanny and Eric Good were both Marines. 30 years after his brother's death in a helicopter crash during a training exercise overseas, Eric shared what Lanny meant to him with us.
Well, like I said, he was really smart. But he was always sort of reserved, I guess, if you will. He knew who he was from a very young age. And he was just so confident in himself, but not in a arrogant sort of way. You know, it's just who he was. I don't know, there was something about that guy. He would have done big things of that, I have no doubt.
Well, Lanny and Eric's sister, April Bynum, shares Lanny's story often. It caught the attention of another local Marine who knew he had to do something for a man who gave it all in the name of his country and of service and sacrifice.
You know, you kind of define your life to before that happened and after that happened.
May 1989, Paducah said goodbye to Corporal Lansden R. Good III. To April Bynum, he was just Lanny.
I was 16 at the time and my whole world kind of stopped, you know. Here's my big brother, my hero, invincible. And so, in my mind, he's always 24.
So these are pictures of him then?
Yes, this is when he was younger. He was also an Eagle Scout.
April's brother was a quiet person, gentle, but people, she said, felt his presence.
You know, and you wanted to be his friend, but he would give you the shirt off his back without a question asked.
April remembers the day Lanny graduated from boot camp vividly.
And so I can remember looking at him then, and he, you know, where he had been my hero my whole life, he was really 10 feet tall that day, and just, you know, I can remember being unbelievably proud that that's my big brother.
Who dreamed of flying a helicopter. And while he never became a pilot, he was a mechanic, crew chief, a big job, one that led him to May 3rd, 1989. This is most likely the last picture taken of Lanny.
They were in France and they were flying a training mission, and it just so happened that the day they flew, it was a choice between Lanny and another guy who was going to get to go that night, and Lanny had put in the hours and so had rank and got to go.
There are no pictures of the crash. The Paducah Sun reported what made national news: 5 Marines killed. They never saw the power line they hit. A hometown boy lost. When Lanny finally came home, a city showed up for him.
It was down at Lindsay's downtown, and the crowd was so big that we did it outside. I mean, we filled the parking lot of Lindsay's. People he went to high school with, people who just, you know, knew our family, and then people we didn't even know. That is the flag that draped his coffin. You can't look at it and not feel pride and not feel loss. I mean, it's you know, it's the last thing that was close to him.
Lanny lives on. April's son Nathan looks like him, has his laugh.
Macy Kate has his green eyes.
And he's still flying, too. Thanks to Mike King, also a Marine.
But I was proud to be able to be part of this.
He's heard Lanny's story visiting April's school. She's a teacher. So Mike got an idea. He wrote to Lanny's old squadron, the HMLA 269 Gunrunners in North Carolina, and asked, would they name a helicopter for Lanny? The answer in this letter: we would be proud to honor Corporal Good.
When you opened that, when you read it, I mean, what went through your mind?
Just shocked to get it to begin with.
In a sundown ceremony in November, this AH-1W Super Cobra made its final flight before retirement. Also there, the UH-1Y Venom, with Lanny's name on the door.
You can see it right on the side, so it will stay there. It's like in his memory, and for his sacrifice for our country.
You didn't know Lanny.
No.
But you've done so much for him.
It's kind of hard to explain, but you just feel, you know.
Like you need to.
Yeah.
Compelled.
I guess that's the word.
In a way, his name being on that helicopter, I mean, he's getting to fly.
He is, absolutely. I hadn't thought about that. He is getting, and that's what he loved.
Just as he loved serving his country, he sacrificed it all for it.
Just to know that people remember my brother, that he really did matter, that his death mattered.
Well, April is a teacher at Reedland Elementary School and has shared Lanny's story many times with the staff and students there, including on Veterans Day. Todd, April told me when Lanny's body returned home back in 1989, a Marine traveled and stayed with her brother's body
every moment. So we're talking the flight over, a memorial service in Paducah until the funeral in the family's Middle Tennessee hometown. Every moment that Marine was there.
It's special. And, you know, you've told Lanny's story throughout the day. His brother Eric, a fellow Marine and friend, Jason Brock, shared his memories, and April read poems Lanny and his mother wrote to each other while he was serving.
Yeah, and I've posted all of it on our web channel, Todd, WPSDLocal6.com. You can watch it by going there, scrolling down, clicking on the Service and Sacrifice icon on the right side of the homepage. And I want to know if you have a story of service and sacrifice you think is worth telling. So just look for click here to fill out a form to send me an email.